My dad and stepmom tried to force me out of my own house for my pregnant stepsister. When I refused, they changed the locks. I'm 28, male, and I'm honestly still trying to wrap my head around what just happened. I live in the house my mom left me when she passed 5 years ago. It's nothing huge, just a modest three-bedroom place in a quiet neighborhood. My mom bought it with her hard-earned savings, and she made sure I knew it would be mine when she was gone. She was always the only stable person in my life, especially after my dad remarried, well, her. My dad, he's not bad, just neglectful. He wasn't really around much after the divorce, and when he was, it was always about him and his new wife. The only time he seemed to care was when something benefited them. And when I say them, I mean my stepmom and her daughter, S. S is my stepsister, 25 and pregnant. That in itself isn't the issue. I've got nothing against her for being pregnant, but the entitlement that radiates off her is unreal. She's the type that always expects life to hand her things on a silver platter, because frankly, that's what my dad and stepmom have done since day one. They spoil her rotten. If she wants something, she gets it. And now they've got their eyes set on my house. It all started a couple of months ago when S's boyfriend left her. I wasn't surprised. The guy always seemed checked out. But of course, in her eyes, she's the victim. I heard about the breakup from my dad, who said S was devastated and needed family support. My dad and stepmom were all over it, catering to her every need, taking her in, cooking her meals, and comforting her. That's fine. I get it. She's family and she's having a rough time. But then one day, my dad called me over for a chat, which, in my experience, never ends well. I showed up, expecting to hear something about helping out or maybe giving us a bit of cash. What I didn't expect was what came next. "We've been thinking," my dad started, sitting at the head of the kitchen table, his wife beside him, looking smug as always. "S needs stability right now, and it's getting a bit cramped at our place with the baby on the way." I didn't like where this was going. "Okay," I said slowly, eyeing the two of them. Stepmom piped up, her voice as sweet as artificial sugar. "We were thinking that, since you've got this big house all to yourself, it would make sense for us to move in. You could stay somewhere smaller. Maybe an apartment?" I blinked. I thought they were joking. "Wait, what?" My dad nodded like it was the most logical thing in the world. "It's not like you need all that space. You're single, no kids. It'd be easier for you to move, and S could use the extra room for the baby. We've already looked into some places for you, just in case you're interested." Just like that, no build-up, no negotiation. They were asking me to leave my own house, the house my mom left me, so that S could live there rent-free because her boyfriend bailed on her. I sat there for a moment, stunned. "You can't be serious," I finally said, my voice shaking with disbelief. My stepmom's smile faltered for a second, but she quickly recovered. "It's just a suggestion, honey. We thought you'd want to help family out in their time of need." I laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was insane. "You want me to move out of my house so S can live there with her baby? What happens when she finds another guy or decides she doesn't like it? You expect me to just give up everything?" "We're not saying give up," my dad said quickly. "Just think about the baby. It's the right thing to do." "Right, the baby. The one that's not even born yet. The one that's suddenly more important than the fact that this house is mine. What about my life? My job? I've been building my life here. I've made this place my own. You're asking me to just throw that away?" S walked in at that moment, wearing that same smug expression I've grown to despise. She looked at me, then at her mom and my dad, and I knew. She was in on this from the start. "It's not like you can't afford to move," she said, crossing her arms over her growing belly. "You've got savings, right?" I shot her a look that could have melted steel. "What's that got to do with anything? This is my house, not yours, not Dad's, mine." S huffed, and for a moment I saw the mask slip. "Well, don't be so selfish. You don't have a family to think about." "I do." "Selfish. Me. The one who's being asked to give up his home." I could feel the anger rising in my chest, but I kept my voice level. "Just because I don't have kids doesn't mean my life doesn't matter. At that point, things escalated. My stepmom jumped in, accusing me of being heartless, saying that family helps family and that my mom would be disappointed in me. That hit a nerve and I snapped. "Don't you dare bring my mom into this," I growled, standing up from the table so fast that my chair nearly toppled over. "She left this house to me because she knew you'd pull some crap like this. You think I didn't notice how you and Dad treated her? How you slowly edged her out of my life until she was gone? You have no right to talk about her." Silence. I could see my dad's face flushing, but he didn't say anything. He never did when things got uncomfortable. He let my stepmom handle it, like always. "She's just trying to help," my dad finally said, his voice weak. "Help?" I scoffed. "You call this helping? Trying to guilt me into giving up my house because your precious daughter screwed up her life? That's not helping, Dad. That's manipulation." S shot back with, "It's not manipulation. You're being dramatic. I need this more than you do. You'll find another place and you'll be fine." I couldn't believe the audacity. "You're not getting this house," I said firmly, turning to leave. "This conversation is over." But it wasn't. Not by a long shot. Over the next few weeks, the pressure mounted. My dad and stepmom kept calling, showing up at the house unannounced, always with some new angle to convince me. Seven started playing the victim card harder, saying she was stressed out and needed a stable environment for the baby. They even had the nerve to show me listings for apartments nearby, just in case I changed my mind. I didn't. Then came the real kicker. One afternoon, I came home from work and the locks on my front door had been changed. I stood there, staring at my own door, trying to comprehend what I was seeing. I tried my key again. Nothing. At first, I thought I was losing it, but then I noticed a note stuck to the door. "We've changed the locks for S's safety. Please contact us to discuss this." That's when I lost it. I called my dad, furious, demanding to know what the hell was going on. He tried to play it off like they were doing me a favor, saying it was temporary, just until we worked something out. I wasn't having any of it. I threatened to call the cops, and that's when my dad's tone changed. He started begging me not to, saying that it would look bad, that we could resolve this as a family. But I wasn't backing down this time. I told him flat out that if the locks weren't changed back by the end of the day, I was filing a police report for trespassing. After that, things moved quickly. The locks were changed back, but the damage was done. I couldn't trust them anymore. I started looking into legal options to make sure this wouldn't happen again. That's when my lawyer told me something I wasn't expecting. During our conversation, I mentioned that I felt like they were going to try and take the house from me, and he warned me that my father had already inquired about contesting my mom's will months ago. He hadn't actually filed anything yet, but he'd spoken to a lawyer about trying to get the house declared as family property instead of my inheritance. I was furious. This whole time, they'd been planning it. They thought they could twist the law and bully me into giving up my home, but my lawyer assured me that my mom's will was airtight. They didn't have a leg to stand on. I confronted my dad the next day. "So you've been planning to take my house from me all along?" I asked, my voice cold as ice. His face paled, but he didn't deny it. "I didn't want it to come to that," he muttered. "But she's in a tough spot. She needs the house more than you do. It's for the baby." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "You were going to take your own son to court over something, Mom? Left to me and her will? Just so your stepdaughter could have an easy life?" He wouldn't meet my eyes. That was the worst part. My own father couldn't even look me in the face after betraying me like this. "I didn't want it to go that far," he said quietly. "But you weren't being reasonable. S's family too. You've got to understand. I just wanted to make sure she and the baby were taken care of. By taking everything from me," I snapped, feeling the anger bubbling up again. "You don't get to decide what's reasonable. You try to take the one thing my mom left me, and you expect me to just roll over because S messed up? You've been neglecting me for years, and now this? You're unbelievable." "Look, I know it's not fair," he said, finally looking up, but there was no remorse in his eyes, just frustration. "But I thought you'd be able to find another place. I thought maybe in time you'd understand." "I'll never understand," I shot back, "and I'll never forgive you for this." He opened his mouth to respond, but I wasn't interested in hearing any more of his excuses. I turned and walked out, slamming the door behind me. That was it. The last shred of whatever father-son relationship we had left was gone. In the weeks that followed, I took extra precautions to make sure they couldn't try anything else. My lawyer helped me lock everything down. My house, my finances, everything. I made sure the house title was solidly in my name with no loopholes or gaps for them to exploit. I even looked into getting a restraining order, but my lawyer advised against it unless they escalated further. And while I hoped that would be the end of it, I knew better. S didn't give up easily. She showed up at my place one day, acting like nothing had happened, as if we hadn't just been through months of manipulation and deceit. She stood there on my doorstep, belly out, looking at me like I was the villain in her story. "I really don't get why you're being so difficult," she said, her voice laced with frustration. "I thought family was supposed to stick together." I stared at her, utterly speechless. "Difficult? I'm being difficult? You tried to steal my house, and you're acting like I'm the one in the wrong?" S rolled her eyes. "Steal is a strong word. It's not like you can't afford to move, and I actually need the space, for the baby." "There it is again," I said, shaking my head in disbelief. "Everything's about you and that baby. Do you even hear yourself? Do you realize how entitled you sound?" Her face tightened, and I could tell she wasn't used to people calling her out. "Entitled? Are you serious? I'm about to be a single mom, and all I'm asking for is a little help. You're acting like this is some huge injustice when all I'm asking for is a roof over my head." "I'm not obligated to give you anything," I said, my voice firm. "Especially not my home. You got yourself into this situation, and it's not my responsibility to bail you out." S crossed her arms over her chest, glaring at me. "You're going to regret this. Dad already thinks you're being heartless. You're pushing everyone away for a stupid house." I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You don't get it, do you? It's not just a house. It's everything I have left of my mom. She made sure I'd have this place, and you and your mom are trying to take that away from me because you can't handle the fact that life didn't go the way you planned. Well, tough luck, S. I'm not going anywhere." She stared at me for a long moment, her face twisted with anger and disbelief. "Fine," she finally spat. "But when you're all alone and you don't have anyone left, don't say I didn't warn you." I closed the door in her face before she could say anything else. That was the last time I spoke to her. After that, things finally calmed down. My dad and stepmom must have realized they weren't getting anywhere with me because they stopped calling, stopped showing up unannounced. I heard from a mutual acquaintance that S eventually moved in with a new boyfriend, a guy with money, apparently. I guess her desperate need for my house wasn't as critical as she made it out to be. And you know what? I don't regret a thing. My dad and stepmom haven't spoken to me since. S moved on with her life, and I've done the same. I still live in the house, and every time I walk through the front door, I feel a sense of peace, knowing I stood my ground. I kept what was mine, what my mom wanted me to have, and no amount of manipulation or guilt tripping could take that away from me. Yeah, it hurts that my dad chose them over me. It hurts that he thought it was okay to try and steal from his own son to help his stepdaughter. But I've learned something through all this. Sometimes you have to cut people out of your life to protect yourself, even if they're family. Blood doesn't entitle anyone to anything, and you don't owe anyone just because they share your DNA. So, if you're ever in a situation where someone, family or not, trying to take advantage of you, remember this. You don't have to give in. You don't owe anyone your peace, your home, or your life. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If you have any thoughts, I'd love to hear them. So please leave a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more stories like this one.
My girlfriend told me I no longer had decision rights in our relationship. M29 here. I'm a software engineer, been with my girlfriend Amelia F30 for almost 2 years. She works in HR at a mid-size company. I need to get this off my chest because what happened last night has me questioning everything I thought I knew about our relationship. Quick background. I've been into street photography since college. Got a pretty decent setup. It's my way of decompressing after long coding sessions, especially when I've been staring at screens for 10+ hours debugging some nightmare legacy code. I usually head out around 9 to 10 p.m. when the city lights start hitting right. Sometimes don't get back until midnight or 1 a.m. Amelia's never loved this habit, but for the first year and a half, she used to just roll her eyes and tell me to be careful. Sometimes she'd even ask to see the shots when I got back, though I could tell she was just being polite. Yesterday, I'd mentioned earlier that day I wanted to catch some shots downtown since we finally got decent weather after a week of rain. I was packing my camera bag around 9:30 when Amelia looked up from the couch. "Where exactly are you going?" she asked. Her tone wasn't unusual yet, so I told her my usual spots, maybe swing by the waterfront if I had time since the construction project there was finally finished. "What time will you be back?" "Probably around midnight, maybe 12:30 if I get some good shots." I was threading my camera strap through the bag loops as I said this, already mentally planning my route. She sat up straight on the couch. "That's too late for a weeknight." I laughed because I honestly thought she was joking. We'd had this exact conversation probably 50 times over the past 2 years. "Come on, it's Tuesday. I don't have any early meetings tomorrow and my current sprint doesn't have any critical deadlines." "I'm not joking, Daniel, you're not going." The way she said it made me stop packing. "What do you mean I'm not going?" "I mean you're staying here with me." Like a normal boyfriend would on a Tuesday night. I tried to keep things light, thinking maybe she was having a bad day at work or something. "Babe, I've been planning this all week. The weather's been terrible and this is the first clear night we've had. The shots I'll get tonight could be really good." "I don't care about your shots." That stung a little, but I pushed through. "Look, I know you're not into photography, but this is important to me. It's how I reset my brain, especially after stressful projects." She cut me off with a sharp gesture. "I don't care what you need. From now on, you ask me before making plans, any plans." "Ask you. Amelia, I told you this morning I might go out tonight." Telling me isn't asking permission. That word, permission, hit me like a slap. "I don't need permission to pursue my hobby." She stood up from the couch and her expression went completely cold. "Actually, you do. From now on, you don't get to just decide things anymore. Everything in this relationship, where you go, when you go, what you do with your time, that's my call now. You've proven you can't make good decisions, so I'm making them for you." I stood there holding my camera bag, not believing what I was hearing. "Are you serious right now? Dead serious? You want this relationship to work. You follow my lead. No more of this wandering around the city at all hours like some teenager with a camera. You're almost 30, Daniel. Time to grow up and prioritize what actually matters." The way she said it wasn't emotional or angry. It was matter of fact, like she'd thought this through and arrived at a reasonable conclusion. I set my camera bag down on the kitchen counter, not because I agreed, but because I needed a moment to process what she just said. "So if I walk out that door right now with my camera, what happens?" "Then you're choosing photography over us, and I think we both know what that means. You spend more time with that camera than you do with me. I'm tired of competing with a hobby." The ultimatum hung in the air between us. I looked at her face, searching for some sign that this was just a really poorly timed joke or that she was testing me somehow. But her expression was completely serious. She genuinely expected me to choose. I didn't go out that night, but I also barely slept. I kept replaying that conversation, especially the part where she said I'd proven I couldn't make good decisions. When had I proven that? By having a passion she didn't share. Around 3 a.m., I found myself mentally cataloging other times she'd made decisions for my own good. The time she'd thrown out my favorite camera strap because it was ratty looking. The way she commented on what I eat, how I dress for work, even which friends I hang out with. How she gradually started planning all our weekend activities without consulting me, then acting hurt if I suggested alternatives. My friend Chris has been telling me for months that some of Amelia's comments felt off, but I always defended her. "She just cares about me," I'd tell him. "She wants what's best for us." Last night, I couldn't defend anything. I'm writing this while she's at work. I haven't told her I'm planning to leave, but after that ultimatum, I don't see another choice. You can't build a relationship with someone who thinks you don't deserve basic autonomy. Edit. To answer some common questions. Yes, we live together, my apartment. She moved in about 8 months ago. No, she's not on the lease. Yes, I make significantly more money than she does, which never mattered to me until right now when I'm realizing how that might play into her need to control other aspects of our life together. Update 1. So I followed through. Told Amelia we needed to talk when she got home from work 2 days after my original post. I kept it simple. What she said about me not having decision rights crossed a line I couldn't uncross. That I needed a partner, not a manager. That I couldn't be in a relationship where my autonomy was seen as a problem to be solved. She went through the whole cycle: denial, anger, bargaining, the works. First, she claimed she was just trying to help me prioritize better, and that I was taking her words out of context. She said she'd been having a bad day at work and didn't mean it the way it sounded. Then she got mad, really mad, started yelling about how I was choosing a stupid hobby over a real relationship. She said I was being selfish and immature, and that every woman would have the same concerns about my photography habits. Finally, she tried to negotiate, said she'd allow me more photography time if I just checked in with her first. Maybe we could compromise on a schedule, photography twice a week instead of whenever I felt like it. She could help me plan better routes so I wouldn't be out as late. The word allow sealed it for me. Even in compromise mode, she still saw herself as the one granting me permission to pursue my interests. She moved her stuff out last Friday, took 2 trips with her car, and I helped load boxes because I'm not a complete asshole. The whole time she kept talking like this was temporary. When you realize what you're giving up, and I'll give you space to think about this, but don't wait too long. Made a big show of leaving her key on the kitchen counter before she left. Placed it right in the center like it was some kind of dramatic statement. I felt relief for the first time in months. The apartment felt bigger somehow, like I could breathe deeper. But here's where it gets weird and why I'm posting again. 3 times since she moved out, I've come home to find things different. Not missing, not broken, just moved, rearranged. Like someone had been there but tried to cover their tracks. The first time was this past Monday. I noticed my camera gear wasn't where I'd left it. I'm pretty obsessive about my equipment. Each lens has its specific spot on the shelf. Cords are wrapped a certain way. Lens caps go in a particular order. When I got home from work, my 50mm lens was in a different spot on the shelf. My camera strap was coiled differently, and my cleaning kit was moved from the left side of the shelf to the right. Small stuff. Stuff that I almost convinced myself I was imagining. Maybe I'd been distracted when I put everything away after my shoot Sunday night. Maybe I was just paranoid after the breakup. The second time was Tuesday. When I got home that day, everything was shifted slightly to the left. But that wasn't the worst part. My photo editing software, all of it was uninstalled from my computer. Just gone. Had to spend an hour and a half reinstalling everything and another hour recovering my presets and custom settings from backups. Yesterday was the big one. Came home to find my entire photo portfolio had been organized. I've got about 6 months of street photography stored in folders on my external drive, organized by date and location, with subfolders for different projects. It's my system, and it works for me. Someone had reorganized everything into what I guess they thought was a better filing system. Completely destroyed my organizational system. Took me 3 hours to find specific shots I needed for a potential gallery submission, and I'm still not sure I've found everything. Here's the thing that's really messing with my head. The front door is always locked when I get home. No signs of forced entry. Windows are all still locked from the inside. Security deadbolt is solid. And she definitely returned that key, right? I watched her put it on the counter. Did she seriously make a copy? The thing is, nothing's been stolen or damaged. It's all just rearranged. I called the non-emergency police line yesterday. The officer was polite but basically said without proof of who's doing it or any actual damage, there's not much they can do. Suggested I change my locks, which I'm definitely doing this weekend. Also suggested I start documenting everything: dates, times, what was moved, photos if possible. But I keep thinking, what kind of person does this? What kind of person keeps a secret key to their ex's place and uses it to move their stuff around? It's like she's trying to prove a point that even when I think I've gotten rid of her, she can still reach me. Anyone dealt with something like this? I'm starting to understand what people mean when they say some breakups aren't clean breaks. Edit. A few people asked if I've confronted her directly. No, not yet. Part of me wonders if I'm being paranoid, but my gut says I'm not. The photo organization thing is too specific, too personal. She's the only person who knew about that conversation we had. Locks getting changed Saturday morning. Found a locksmith who can come out weekend hours. Also setting up a small security camera in my living room, something that connects to my phone so I can see if anyone's been in my apartment while I'm at work. Update 2. The lock change worked. No more mysterious rearrangements in my apartment. No more software being uninstalled. No more photo portfolio reorganization. I also set up that security camera and it's been recording an empty apartment all week. So that part is over. But Amelia found other ways to mess with my life. First, my friend Jake texted me last Tuesday. "Hey man, Amelia reached out asking if you were okay. Said you've been obsessing over photography and not taking care of yourself. What's that about?" She seemed really worried. Jake and I play pickup basketball every Thursday, have for the past 3 years. He's met Amelia maybe 4 times total and they don't have each other's numbers. So she had to go looking for his contact info. I told Jake the real story. He was quiet for a long time, then said, "Man, that's messed up. She made it sound like you were having some kind of breakdown." Then my coworker Sarah mentioned that someone calling herself my concerned girlfriend had emailed her asking if I seemed unstable at work lately. Sarah forwarded me the email and it was sophisticated, professional sounding. "Hi Sarah, I hope you don't mind me reaching out. I'm Amelia, Daniel's girlfriend. I'm reaching out because I'm genuinely concerned about his well-being and wondering if you've noticed any changes in his behavior recently. Daniel has been going through some personal struggles. He's been obsessing over his photography hobby to an unhealthy degree and seems to be using it as an escape from reality. I know you work closely with him, so I thought you might have insight into whether this is affecting his professional life. I don't want to violate his privacy, but I care deeply about his well-being and want to make sure he's getting support if he needs it." The way she positioned herself as the concerned girlfriend who just wants to help. Sarah said if she hadn't known the context, it would have sounded completely reasonable. By Thursday, I'd gotten messages from 3 other friends asking if I was going through some kind of breakdown. She painted a picture of someone spiraling out of control, using photography as an unhealthy escape, cutting off people who cared about him. To someone who doesn't know the full context, her concern probably sounds reasonable, loving, even. Friday afternoon, I got a call from my project manager, Tom. Someone had emailed him suggesting that my recent personal issues might be affecting my work quality, and maybe the team should check in on my current assignments to make sure nothing was falling through the cracks. The email came from a personal Gmail address, but Tom said the sender claimed to be a friend who works in HR and understands these situations, and was familiar with the warning signs of someone struggling with work-life balance. That's when I lost it. I called Amelia. I hadn't talked to her since she moved out, but I had to confront this directly. She answered on the second ring like she'd been waiting for my call. "Daniel, I was hoping you'd call. I've been so worried about you. Cut the act. Why are you contacting my friends and coworkers? I'm just reaching out to people who care about you because you're clearly not taking care of yourself. You don't get to decide that. We're broken up. You don't get to monitor my life anymore. Someone has to. You're spiraling, Daniel. The photography thing has gotten completely out of hand. You're staying out until all hours. You've cut off everyone who cares about you. You're living in this fantasy world where taking pictures is more important than real relationships. It's just my hobby, Amelia. It's been my hobby for years before I met you. It's become an obsession. And now that you don't have me to keep you grounded, you're just lost. You need help, and if you won't get it yourself, then someone who loves you has to step in. The way she said it was so condescending, like she genuinely believed I was incapable of functioning without her oversight. Stop contacting people in my life. I'm serious, Amelia. Or what? You'll call the police. And tell them what? That someone who loves you is worried about your well-being. She hung up before I could respond. Here's what's really messing with my head. She's not technically lying about anything. She's been smart about the whole thing. I do stay out late taking photos. I am passionate about it. I did break up with her, which could be seen as cutting off someone who cares. To someone who doesn't know the full context, her concern probably sounds reasonable. But I know what this is. It's her trying to control the narrative. Trying to make it seem like I need her, like I'm incapable of managing my own life without her guidance. Chris came over Saturday night and we talked it through. He pointed out something I hadn't considered. Dude, she works in HR. She knows exactly how to plant seeds of doubt about someone's stability without crossing legal lines. This is probably stuff she's seen in workplace situations. That actually makes sense and makes it scarier. This isn't some sloppy emotional reaction. This is calculated. I'm documenting everything now. Screenshots of the messages my friends received, copies of the emails to my coworkers, saving voicemails. If this escalates, I want a paper trail. But part of me is wondering, how far is she willing to take this? And how many people is she going to convince that I'm the problem before this is over? Edit, several people suggesting I send a cease and desist letter, looking into it. Also, yes, I've told everyone who contacted me the real story. Most of my friends see right through it now that they know what to look for. Yes, I've blocked her on everything now. Should have done it immediately after the breakup, but I didn't think she'd go this far. Someone in the comments pointed out that what she's doing could be considered harassment or even defamation if she's making false claims about my mental state to my employer. Talking to a lawyer this week. Final update. Well, it's over. Finally. And it ended exactly the way I should have expected it would, with Amelia making a scene in public and showing everyone exactly who she really is. Last Saturday, I was at the community darkroom where I develop film. I've been working on prints from a series I shot last month, completely in my zone when the door buzzer went off. The studio manager, Lisa, came back to the darkroom area looking confused. "There's someone here asking for you. Says she's your girlfriend and needs to talk to you about an emergency." My stomach dropped because I knew it was Amelia. Lisa's in her 60s, been running this place for 15 years, and she's protective of the space. The fact that someone had gotten her rattled enough to interrupt my session was not a good sign. I told Lisa to tell her I wasn't available, that we were broken up and I didn't want to talk to her. But before Lisa could get back to the front desk, I heard Amelia's voice echoing from the main workspace. "Daniel, I know you're here. We need to talk." I came out of the darkroom to find her standing in the main workspace where about 6 other photographers were working on their prints. Everyone had stopped what they were doing and was staring. The place is usually library quiet except for the hum of enlargers and the occasional timer going off. Amelia's voice cut through that silence like a fire alarm. "Amelia, you can't be here. This is a private workspace." I tried calling. I tried texting. "You've blocked me everywhere." She looked frantic, hair a mess, like she'd been driving around trying to find me. "Because we're broken up, and because I've specifically told you to stop contacting me and my friends." "I haven't contacted anyone. I've been trying to help you because you're clearly not okay." And then she started. Right there in front of everyone, she launched into what I can only describe as a public intervention. "Look at yourself, Daniel. You're here on a Saturday afternoon hiding in a darkroom instead of dealing with your problems. You've cut off everyone who cares about you. You've turned all our friends against me with your lies. You're obsessed with this photography thing to the point where you can't maintain relationships. This isn't healthy. This isn't normal." One of the other photographers stepped forward. "Ma'am, you need to lower your voice or leave. This is a working studio." Amelia turned on him like he'd insulted her mother. "Excuse me, this is a private conversation with my boyfriend. Mind your own business." "Ex-boyfriend," I corrected. "We broke up 3 weeks ago. We're taking a break, that's completely different." "You're punishing me for trying to help you work through your issues." That's when it clicked for me. In her mind, we weren't actually broken up. In her mind, this was all just me having some kind of episode that she needed to manage until I came to my senses and realized she'd been right all along. "Amelia, we're not taking a break. I broke up with you. I told you that clearly. You made a decision when you were upset and not thinking clearly. That doesn't count." "It absolutely counts. I'm an adult. I can end a relationship." "Not without discussing it with me first." The room had gone completely quiet. Lisa had called the police when Amelia forced her way past the front desk, and I could hear sirens in the distance getting closer. "I was trying to help you make better choices." Amelia continued anyway. "You were wasting your life on this stupid hobby, staying out all night taking pictures of garbage cans and graffiti instead of building something real with me. And I'm making a choice now. Stay away from me." That's when she completely lost it. Started screaming about how I was betraying her trust and humiliating her in public, when all she'd done was care about me more than I cared about myself. The police arrived just as she was yelling that I had destroyed her reputation by spreading lies about her to our mutual friends. They didn't arrest her, but they did escort her out and told her she couldn't come back to the studio. I gave them the whole story, the secret key, the apartment break-ins, the contacting my friends and coworkers, now showing up at my workplace demanding to talk to me. One of the officers asked if I wanted to file a report. I said yes. She said I had enough for a restraining order if I wanted to pursue it, and given the escalating pattern, she recommended I do exactly that. I filed for the restraining order Monday morning. Haven't heard from her since Saturday, but I also haven't checked if she's tried to contact my friends or family again. Part of me doesn't want to know. The weird thing is, I feel lighter. For the first time in months, maybe even the past year of our relationship, I feel like I can breathe. I went out Tuesday night and shot photos until 2 a.m. and didn't think once about whether someone would be angry with me for it. Caught some amazing shots of the late-night food trucks downtown. Submitted it to a local photography contest yesterday. Whether I win or not, it feels good to be creating again without someone constantly questioning whether it's worth my time. Thanks for all the support, Reddit. 2 years ago, if someone had told me I'd be getting a restraining order against my girlfriend, I'd have thought they were crazy. Chris was right all along. Sometimes the most dangerous people are the ones who think they're saving you. Edit, final legal update, restraining order approved. 1 year stays in effect through next September. She's not allowed to contact me, come to my workplace, come to my home, or contact my family friends about me. Violation is a misdemeanor. Honestly hope I never have to use it, but it feels good to have it in place.